Be very quiet, everybody. We don't want to startle it. It likes the fruit.
I'll go. What is that?
And when I say we all understand that nothing is correct, I mean literally nothing. This is a dragon in Morocco. That's a giant fish. That is Atlantis. Everything drained out from the Sahara Ocean out of there. This was all written about, and it's even the dragon is on Columbus's map.
As you can tell, we are back at it again with Mud Fossil University's greatest hits. His absurd claim that the Atlas Mountains are actually a giant dragon skeleton. Now, he says he has more evidence, a supposed map of Columbus, that shows this dragon. Whatever could he be talking about, you ask? Well, let me show you.
This, my friends, looks like the dragon to me. So apparently, Columbus knew there was a dragon there.
Yep, that was it. That line on this old map apparently looks like a dragon. Pareidolia is one thing, but this is some advanced next level pareidolia. If you thought Jesus on toast was bad, this shit is the tops.
So it's time we looked back at reality and accept it for reality and start to think for reality.
You serious?
And if you think this is a joke and this is a fake and this is something you can just disregard, well, you better get up here and take your little eyeballs out and look.
I'll tell ya, the hubris on this guy. It's one thing to experience pareidolia and see something that's not there. It's another thing to try to convince others of your pareidolia. But what Mud Fossil University does here is beyond cute, and drives straight off into the insane.
Because it is not, and it is our history, and Einstein's wrong, and nobody cares about any of the reality.
Yes, even Einstein falls victim to the awe and reverence that is Mud Fossil University.
I have the proof of everything I'm saying. I have the proof of my giants. Hold on. This is the lab report on the giants that I have, and I had 3 things tested. One, a giant which would equivalent to about 60 feet, one that's over 200 feet, and one that's our size.
I promise I'll get to this DNA proof of mud fossils and giants at some point. It's as much trash as you imagine it would be, but I have such a huge backlog of bullshit videos to get through between creationism, flat earth, mud fossils, random other fucking conspiracies on YouTube. I'll get to it when I get to it, don't worry.
And here is a picture of the 200-foot one fingertip. You see that? Those are fingerprints. Those are the little sweat pores. That's grip skin. You can see, there's where the print starts. That's the side of the finger. That wrapped around that fingernail right there. Fingertip. That's the fingernail. It's about 30 inches wide. So, and it's DNA certified.
Mud Fossil University is rather annoying on my end, because he repeats all his shit over and over again in every video. And this dude puts out like 5 or 6 videos a week. As you can tell, they're super low quality, right? So I don't want to have to repeat myself every time he brings up this fingertip or this thigh bone or something like that, and these blanket statements of DNA certified, because my videos are going to be as repetitive as his at that point, and therefore not as entertaining for the rest of you. So this is why I don't go into depth about every one of his stupid fucking statements.
Virtually every rock there is was a biological.
It amazes me how he can say something like that when all you have to do is go outside to see geology in action. Igneous deposits being formed, shales being formed from riverbeds, lake beds, things of that nature. It's not super confusing. But he apparently only sits in front of his computer all day, so this is what we end up with.
Oh, it's like these stone balls here. They come in all different sizes. They come from tiny up to just huge, and the straps are still on some of them. There's just no way to discount this.
You may think you know he's talking about here, but oddly enough, you could be surprised. Of course, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, but this may lead someplace else.
These are the tendon mats. The tendon itself has a strap that comes, we've seen it, that goes to the tendon ball. It fits through what they call a Chinese slot, Chinese finger trap.
I'm sure you are as shocked as I am
I'm as surprised as you are.
that Mudfossil University doesn't know shit about biology. I'm assuming we're looking at a shoulder tendon, perhaps? And, unsurprisingly, there's no Chinese slot or Chinese finger trap in a shoulder tendon.
And that allows the tendon to move, and the strap goes down through this way. Well, this one's pulled out from its anchor. They're never supposed to be pulled out of there. That's an injury. That's the ball. That's the strap. These are the flat panels that they use down in Peru, and they snapped them right here.
Quick disclaimer, never take any advice from Mudfossil University, especially medical advice. That being said, I'm sure you are wondering, what the fuck does this have to do with rock balls? Well, let's find out, shall we?
Coming up to this is literally all kinds of little blocky panels. They go just like this all the way down. And they make a triangle coming up to it. Absolutely fabulous, the structure of the body. We are built in little tiny slots and slabs and blocks.
As I'm sure you are aware, I am no biology expert. I am not familiar at all with the inner workings of the body. So, when I have a question about the body, I go to a professional. I don't go to some jackass that sits in front of his computer and pokes his computer screen with the end of a feather all day. That's not a good source of information.
And if you can see, I don't know if you can see all the little layers in this thing, but that's the kind of layering that's in the tissues of things. That's tissue. There's a ton of layering in there.
Something I do know a bit about is geology, and I can tell you, that's no muscle. He has yet to show evidence of layering in tendons, or actual layering in the sample in his damn hands. He just decides the two must be the same, because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I like to party, so I like my Jesus to party.
That is the nature of life. We have missed even that. There is so many more layers than we are led to believe. They say, oh, you got this layer, and this layer, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. Well, there's thousands of layers. Now, they are very, very thin, and you don't see them, apparently, until they turn into mud fossils, and then you see them quite well.
Was that an attempt at philosophy, or a claim that his statements on mud fossils are true because rocks have laminations? I don't understand that sentence. That made no sense.
I am seeing it as looking for reality, and the reason I started to, I'm done with no understanding this. I understand it 100%. I have no more issues with understanding the world was just exactly like they said in the past, and Enoch was the guy that said the things that I want to look at, because he's the guy they took out of the Bible.
When he talks about Enoch, referring to Enoch from the Bible, and more specifically the Book of Enoch, which is an apocryphal text in most religious communities, because it's not considered necessarily divinely inspired as opposed to the rest of, let's say, the Bible or what have you.
They said, no, to get that thing out of here, it's crazy. Well, it's not crazy, it's reality.
Apparently, Mudfossil University is just as ignorant in biblical studies as he is in biology, geology, physics, everything, really.
Hey, look at me. I'm a Christian. I'm reading the Bible.
All right, this is where the mat would have been. And that was where the ball stuck in. The other one we saw was pulled out. That's the strap. This was a strap here that broke away. The straps are much weaker than the balls. The balls are all over here. And that's just the way they work. That is the nature of the way the body is constructed and anchored.
If the straps are weaker than the balls, why are they both here and look like the exact same material, the exact same geology? It's almost like your sentences don't make sense because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Stop acting so stupid!
All right, you see here it is right here. 1,190 papers mention my name. Now, that's mentioned in these papers. And then they also send you every time somebody searches on you, and I get a lot of that. So people are paying attention, but nobody's corresponding with me.
Academia.edu is an open-access social networking site designed for academics to share their published material, somewhat similar to a Google Scholar or ResearchGate. It is important to note that Academia.edu is a business and not associated with any university, so its use of .edu is somewhat misleading. Secondly, it does not require peer review prior to publishing on its site, unlike actual scientific journals. However, the most embarrassing point to make is that Mud Fossil University is not the only person in the world named Richard Spur.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
So, unless he works for the BBC on gender and LGBT issues, I somewhat doubt all 1,190 of those papers are specifically referencing some dumbass old coot that pokes his monitor with a damn feather.
Now here's Bowling Ball Beach. These are everywhere. They are everywhere wherever it erodes against the ocean. They show up because the Earth was literally flesh all over the entire Earth. I'm sorry, that's just a fact.
So, if all the geology of the world is the fossilized remains of giant creatures, what did those creatures walk on before they died? Because all geology is actually mud fossil, right? How far back does this go? Did those giants walk on the fossilized flesh of even bigger giants before them? Is the Earth actually Ego the Living Planet? Do you believe Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was a documentary? What about Guardians of the Galaxy 1?
These are the straps broken off. This looks to me like they had a test wall to see what was the best way to dress the final result on the surface, because I don't see any reason for this. Because they got lumps sticking off here. They got, because this is actually the layering of the external surface of the skin. Well, in this case, it's a tendon mat, and that comes up to here. Now they've cut some away. They have this one like that. They scrape down this way on that one. I see no other reason for this other than to test it, to see what would work best.
God, I'm getting so lost here. First of all, no citation on this picture, so I cannot tell you why the geology looks the way it does. Secondly, I cannot follow what Mud Fossil University is even claiming that is going on with this picture. Are we supposed to be looking at a stack of tendons? Is this a pile of shoulders? I think our host is getting a bit too drunk on his own stupidity.
And they had high-tech equipment. All right, these things are down in Bolivia, and I guess there are a lot of places. But anyway, you see these? These are tank treads. This vehicle with its tire and its tank treads was designed to work in wet conditions.
Wow, you sure can pull a lot of information out of nothing. It's almost like you're making this shit up.
This is a tendon mat, and they somehow had something over here cutting these slabs off, and they brought them in the back and made walls out of them. And this is the Achilles tendon. They were gigantic, huge creatures. I cannot account for it other than it was written about in the past, and it was true.
There you go, folks. The entire set of evidence, the encyclopedia of mud fossil evidence presented right in front of you. It was written in the past, and it was true. Not, it may be true, and it was true.
Does not compute. Does not compute. Does not compute.
These are the walls in the back that they made where they fit together. Oh, I can't believe how, and they're all crazy looking shapes. Well, that's because they cut some slabs of wet tendon. This is tendon. And it was wet. They cut it and they put it back here. And I could show it. There's absolutely no question what I'm saying. It's true. It's time to start thinking about what the heck did happen here.
What the hell is a wet tendon?
All right, you see this? This is tendinous material, and this is either the bone or muscle. I'm not sure which. It's extremely eroded. You can see that it's a red, bloody, porous material. Now, this tendon is a whole different story, tough as hell. And what they did was they cut this poorly from a bad place, a very bad place, and it shows it's not, you know, it's eroding. I mean, it's lasted a couple thousand years, I guess. Or however long. But look, I mean, that one there is literally a chunk of rotting meat. This is what this is. I understand this stuff intimately. I understand rocks, and I understand the chemistry. I understand the biology. I understand the anatomy. I understand the preservation. I understand why it happened.
Well, shit. What more is there to say? I guess this man really can do it all.
That'll do.